Welcome back to Us Mint Mysteries, where ordinary pocket change turns into unbelievable treasure. Today's video is not just shocking, it's eye-opening, because hidden inside old collections, dusty drawers, and forgotten coin jars are 7 Kennedy half dollars that could be worth more than most people earn in a lifetime. Some of these coins look normal at first glance, but under the right condition, the right strike, or a rare mint mistake, their value explodes into the hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars. Take a close look at this 1972 Kennedy half dollar in extra fine condition, because this is exactly the kind of coin most people underestimate, and that mistake can cost them a fortune. At first glance, the 1972 Kennedy half dollar feels familiar. John F. Kennedy's strong profile still faces left, his hair sharply defined, the word Liberty wrapping boldly around the rim. But in extra fine condition, this coin tells a very different story. You can clearly see the separation in Kennedy's hair above the ear, the sharp jawline, and the clean lettering that hasn't been worn flat by decades of handling. On the reverse, the presidential seal remains strong. The eagle's feathers are visible, the shield lines are crisp, and the overall strike still has life. This isn't a tired old coin, this is a survivor. Now, here's where the excitement really begins. Most people believe only silver Kennedy halves matter. That's wrong. The 1972 issue may be copper nickel, but what makes this year special is how many rare mint variations and errors slipped past quality control during a time when the US Mint was pushing massive production numbers. And when those errors appear on a coin preserved in extra fine condition like this one, collectors pay attention, serious attention. One of the most valuable varieties to look for is the 1972 double die obverse. If you examine the word Liberty closely under magnification, especially the letters L and I, you may notice strong doubling. The date 1972 can also show separation and thickness that looks almost shadowed. This isn't where this is a minting mistake frozen in metal. In circulated condition, a genuine double die can still bring $8,000 to $15,000. But in extra fine condition like this, authenticated examples have shocked collectors by reaching $45,000 to $85,000 at auction, and that's not even the ceiling. Another sleeper variety is the 1972 no FG reverse. On a normal Kennedy half dollar, you'll find the designer's initials FG just below the eagle's tail feathers. But on some 1972 strikes, those initials are completely missing due to over-polished dies. This error is extremely desirable. In worn condition, can already sell for thousands. In extra fine condition, clean examples have climbed past $120,000. And top-end pieces with sharp detail and original surfaces have crossed into the $250,000 to $400,000 range when competition gets fierce. Now imagine combining that rarity with pristine eye appeal. There are also rare 1972D off metal strikes, clipped planchets, and wrong planchet errors known to exist. These are the coins that rewrite price guides overnight. A genuine 1972 Kennedy half dollar struck on the wrong planchet, verified by a top grading service, can leap into high six-figure territory, with elite specimens pushing $450,000 and beyond. These are the coins that make headlines, and they often start out looking just like this one. So, how do you identify a potentially valuable 1972 Kennedy half dollar? Start with condition. Extra fine is a powerful threshold. Look for sharp hair detail, bold lettering, and minimal flattening on high points. Next, inspect the reverse for missing FG, then examine the date and lettering for doubling. Finally, weigh the coin and check the edge. Anything unusual could be the clue that separates a $10 coin from a life-changing discovery. What makes some Kennedy half dollars valuable isn't age alone, it's rarity, condition, and mistakes the mint never meant to release. And the 1972 issue sits right at the center of that perfect storm. So, before you dismiss a 1972 Kennedy half dollar as ordinary, look again. Because the next time you hear about a six-figure coin discovery, It might not come from a treasure chest, it might come from a $50 that's been waiting quietly in someone's collection for over 50 years. Now, moving on. The next Kennedy $50 is even more shocking, and its value story goes where most collectors never expect. Now, take a deep breath and look closely at this 1971 Kennedy $50 in new, full fine condition. Because this is the year that quietly changed everything, and most people never noticed. The 1971 Kennedy $50 marks a major turning point in U.S. coin history. This was the first year the Kennedy half was struck entirely without silver, and that shift created chaos inside the mint. New metal compositions, rushed production schedules, and worn dies all collided at once. The result? A flood of coins and a shocking number of mistakes. In full, fine, almost new condition like this one, those mistakes become powerful and incredibly valuable. Let the obverse. Kennedy's portrait still looks fresh and bold. The cheek shows minimal wear, the hair strands remain separated, and Liberty is fully readable with no fading. The date, 1971, stands strong, and the fields still reflect light evenly. This is not a coin that lived a hard life. It was saved, and that matters more than most people realize. Flip it over, and the eagle tells the same story. The wings show feather separation, the shield lines are visible, and the stars remain sharp. Coins from 1971 are notorious for weak strikes, so when you find one this clean, collectors immediately slow down and look closer, and here's why. The most famous and valuable variety from this year, the 1971D double die obverse. This is not light doubling, this is bold, unmistakable separation, especially in Liberty and the date. Under magnification, the letters appear thick, almost doubled on themselves. In circulated condition, confirmed examples can already bring $12,000 to $25,000, but in new or near new condition like this, prices don't just climb, they explode. High-grade examples have stunned the market, pushing into the $150,000 to $300,000 range, with exceptional eye appeal driving bidding wars past $500,000. And that's just one path to fortune. Another sleeper error is the 1971 No FG reverse. Just like the 1972, some 1971 coins were struck with dies so heavily polished that the designer's initials vanished completely. These coins are scarce, and most were never noticed until decades later. In fine condition, they're already valuable. In new, full fine condition like this, verified pieces have crossed $200,000, with elite examples threatening the $450,000 to $700,000 range when demand spikes. But the real jaw-droppers? Those come from wrong planchet and transitional metal errors. During the shift away from silver, a small number of 1971 Kennedy $50 were struck on incorrect or experimental planchets. These coins feel different in the hand, sound different when dropped, and often way outside normal tolerances. When authenticated, these rare survivors sit at the very top of the market. Recent private sales and elite auctions have placed these at $750,000 to well over $1 million. Depending on condition and uniqueness. So, how do you spot a potentially valuable 1971 Kennedy $50? Start with condition. New or full fine examples are critical. Check the reverse for missing FG. Examine Liberty and the date for strong doubling. Weigh the coin carefully and listen to the ring. Anything unusual deserves professional attention. What makes some Kennedy $50 valuable isn't silver, it's timing, mistakes, and survival. And the 1971 issue sits right at the moment when everything went wrong at the mint, in the best possible way for collectors. And here's a quick reminder: if you're enjoying these discoveries and don't want to miss the next coin, make sure you subscribe to us Mint Mysteries, because the next Kennedy $50 takes us deeper into error territory, and the value jumps again in ways few people believe. Next up, a Kennedy $50 that proves color, condition, and rarity can turn a modern coin into a six-figure legend. Now, is slow things down and focus on this 1973 Kennedy $half in extra fine condition, because this is one of the most misunderstood coins in the entire series, and that misunderstanding is exactly where the money is hiding. At first glance, the 1973 Kennedy $half feels common. Millions were struck, and most people pass right over this year without a second thought. But in extra fine condition like this one, the story changes fast. Kennedy's portrait still shows strong definition. The hair above the ear is clearly separated, the cheek retains shape, and the word liberty remains bold and complete. There's no heavy flattening, no lifeless surfaces. This coin still speaks with authority. Turn it over, and the eagle tells you even more. The wings show visible feather detail, the shield lines remain crisp, and the stars haven't melted into the fields. That matters, because 1973 strikes are infamous for soft details and worn dies. Finding one in extra fine condition already puts it into a higher tier, and that's before we talk about what can make it truly rare. Here's the shock most collectors don't expect. The 1973 Kennedy $half was never released for circulation in mint state by the U.S. Mint. High-quality examples were primarily struck for collector sets, and many never saw everyday use. That means when an extra fine piece like this surfaces outside of a set, collectors immediately ask questions. How was it stored? Why did it survive so cleanly? And more importantly, is it one of the rare varieties? One of the most valuable varieties to look for is the 1973 double die obverse. Under magnification, doubling can appear on Liberty and the date, with noticeable thickness and separation that cannot be explained by wear. In lower grades, these coins already bring serious money, but in extra fine condition, confirmed examples have sold in the $85,000 to $180,000 range. When paired with exceptional eye appeal and strong luster, bidding has pushed select coins toward $400,000 and beyond. Then there's the legendary 1973 No FG reverse. This is where disbelief sets in. On some 1973 Kennedy $half, the designer's initials, FG, are completely missing beneath the eagle's tail feathers due to extreme die polishing. This error is dramatically rarer than most people realize, especially in higher condition. In circulated grades, these coins already command impressive premiums. In extra fine condition like this, authenticated examples have shattered expectations, reaching $250,000 to $500,000, and when two determined collectors collide, prices have surged even higher. But the rarest treasures from 1973 don't stop there. A small number of 1973 Kennedy $half were struck on wrong planchets, including experimental or foreign blanks. These coins often show slightly different coloration, incorrect weight, or abnormal edges. When verified by a major grading service, these pieces instantly enter elite territory. High-end examples have reached $750,000 to well over $1.2 million, rewriting what collectors thought a non-silver Kennedy could be worth. So how do you identify a potentially valuable 1973 Kennedy $half? Start with condition. Extra fine is crucial for this year. Look for strong detail in the hair and eagle. Check carefully for the presence or absence of the FG initials. Use magnification to inspect Liberty and the date for doubling. And never ignore weight, sound, or color differences. Those small clues are often the doorway to life-changing value. What makes some Kennedy $half valuable isn't how old they are, it's how few survived in the right condition with the right mistake. And the 1973 issue proves that even a coin most people overlook can quietly become a six-figure legend. Moving on, the next Kennedy $half doesn't just surprise collectors, it completely rewrites what modern coin value really means. Now, let's shift into a decade most collectors overlook and examine this 1980 Kennedy $half in extra fine condition. Because this is the kind of coin that hides in plain sight, and then shocks the market when the truth comes out. At first glance, a 1980 Kennedy $half doesn't look like a fortune waiting to happen. It feels modern, familiar, ordinary, but in extra fine condition like this one, it immediately demands a closer look. Kennedy's portrait still carries strength. The hair above the ear shows clear separation, the cheek has contour, and the word liberty remains sharp from end to end. There's honest circulation here, but no heavy wear. This coin was used and then saved. And that combination matters more than most people realize. Turn the coin over, and the eagle confirms it. The feathers are still visible, the shield lines are clean, and the stars remain distinct. Many 1980 halves were struck with tired dies, leaving weak detail. When you find one in extra fine condition, it tells you this coin escaped the worst of that era's mass production. Now here's where the shock really hits. The late 1970s and early 1980 seconds were a nightmare inside the U.S. Mint. High demand, aging equipment, and cost-cutting measures created a perfect storm for mint errors, and 1980 sits right in the center of it. One of the most valuable discoveries from this year is the 1980 double die obverse. Look closely at Liberty and the date. On genuine examples, the doubling is strong, clean, and unmistakable. In circulated condition, these already command serious premiums. But in extra fine condition like this, verified examples have sold in the $65,000 to $140,000 range, with standout pieces pushing toward 300,000. But that's just the beginning. The 1980 No FG reverse is another sleeper that collectors fight over. When the designer's initials vanish beneath the eagle's tail feathers due to aggressive die polishing, rarity is born. Most people never look there, which is why these coins still slip through unnoticed. In worn grades, they bring thousands. In extra fine condition, confirmed examples have surged into the $180,000 to $350,000 range, with pristine surfaces driving prices even higher. And then there are the coins that rewrite everything. A small number of 1980 Kennedy half dollars were struck on wrong planchets, including foreign or experimental blanks. These coins often appear slightly off in color, weight, or edge thickness. They may sound different when dropped or feel wrong in the hand. When authenticated, these pieces don't just climb, they explode in value. Elite examples have crossed $600,000, and unique error strikes have approached or exceeded $1 million. Stunning even seasoned collectors. So, how do you identify a potentially valuable 1980 Kennedy half dollar? Condition comes first. Extra fine or better is critical. Inspect the reverse carefully for missing FG. Use magnification on Liberty and the date to search for strong doubling. Weigh the coin and pay attention to how it rings. Anything unusual deserves professional evaluation. What makes some Kennedy half dollars valuable isn't age or silver, it's scarcity, survival, and mistakes the mint never meant to release. And the 1980 issue proves that even coins from an overlooked decade can carry jaw-dropping value when the right factors collide. Next up, the next Kennedy half dollar pushes us even deeper into the modern era, and somehow, the prices get even more unbelievable. Now, let's move into a year most people still believe is too modern to matter, this 1993 Kennedy half dollar in fine condition, because this is where disbelief really starts to set in. At first glance, a 1993 Kennedy half dollar feels ordinary. Many people remember these coins in circulation and assume they can't possibly be valuable. But look closer. Even in fine condition, Kennedy's portrait remains clear. The outline of the hair is still visible, the cheek shows shape, and Liberty is readable without fading into the rim. This coin has seen use, but it hasn't been abused. And for 1993, that's enough to make collectors pay attention. Flip it over, and the eagle still holds its form. The wings show basic feather detail, the shield lines are present, and the stars haven't completely blended into the fields. Fine condition might sound modest, but for certain 1993 varieties, it's more than enough to unlock serious value. Here's why. By the early 1990s, the U.S. Mint was operating at high speed with less human inspection than ever before. Automated systems pushed coins out in massive numbers, and that's exactly how dramatic errors slipped through. One of the most sought after is the 1993 double die obverse. Under magnification, doubling can be seen on Liberty and the date, especially the 1 and 9, in fine condition. Authenticated examples have sold in the $35,000 to $70,000 range. But when surfaces are clean and the doubling is strong, prices have surged past $150,000, shocking collectors who never expected it from a 1,990 seconds coin. But the real sleeper, the 1993 No FG reverse. On some 1993 Kennedy half dollars, the designer's initials beneath the eagle's tail feathers are completely missing. This isn't where it's a mint error caused by extreme die polishing. Most people never check for it. That's why these coins still turn up in collections unnoticed. In fine condition, verified. No FG examples have already crossed $120,000. And when I appeal is strong, bidding has pushed them into the $250,000 to $400,000 range. And then there are the coins that seem almost impossible. A handful of 1993 Kennedy half dollars were struck on wrong planchets, including foreign blanks or experimental metal compositions. These coins often feel wrong the moment you hold them. The color may be off. The weight may not match. The sound, when dropped, can be dull or unusually sharp. When authenticated, these errors instantly jump into elite territory. Documented examples have reached $500,000 to $900,000. And unique pieces have quietly crossed the $1 million mark in private sales.so. How do you identify a potentially valuable 1993 Kennedy half dollar? Start with the basics. Even fine condition can be enough if the error is right. Look carefully for missing FG on the reverse. Use magnification to inspect Liberty and the date for doubling. Check the edge and weigh the coin. Any deviation from normal standards could be the key to a life-changing discovery. What makes some Kennedy half dollars valuable isn't age or silver content, its rarity, overlooked errors, and the moment collectors finally realize what they're holding. And the 1993 issue proves that even coins from recent decades can quietly climb into 6- and 7-figure territory. And stay with me, because the next Kennedy half dollar doesn't just surprise collectors, it challenges everything they think they know about modern US coin values. Now, this is where the story turns serious, because what you're looking at right now is a 1967 Kennedy half dollar in extra fine, nearly new condition. And this is one of the most historically important coins in the entire series. 1967 sits right in the heart of America's silver transition. This Kennedy half dollar was struck in 40% silver, during a time when the US Mint was under extreme pressure. Coin shortages, public hoarding, and political tension forced the Mint to remove mint marks entirely. That decision alone created mystery and opportunity. And when a 1967 example survives in extra fine, almost new condition like this one, collectors lean in. Look closely at the obverse. Kennedy's hair is sharply defined, especially above the ear. The cheek still has fullness, not the flat look of heavy circulation. Liberty is bold and complete, and the fields remain clean, with only light contact marks. This coin looks fresh, like it was pulled from circulation early and protected for decades. Turn it over and the eagle seals the deal. The wings show strong feather detail. The shield lines are crisp, and the stars are clear and well separated. Many 1967 halves suffer from weak strikes, so this level of sharpness immediately elevates its status. Now, here's the moment that changes everything. The 1967 Kennedy half dollar is famous for rare double die varieties, especially on the obverse. Under magnification, strong doubling can appear in Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date. This is not machine doubling, it's bold, raise, and unmistakable. In circulated condition, these coins already command serious money, but in extra fine, nearly new condition like this, certified examples have reached $85,000 to $160,000. Exceptional pieces with blazing eye appeal have shocked the market, climbing past $300,000. But that's not even the headline. Some of the most valuable 1967 Kennedy half dollars are struck on wrong planchets. During the silver transition, planchet mix-ups were far more common than most people realize. A 1967 Kennedy struck on a silver planchet intended for another denomination instantly becomes a museum-level rarity. When authenticated, these coins don't just rise in value, they explode. High-profile examples have reached $500,000 to over $1.2 million, depending on metal content and condition. And then there are the special strike finish coins. Because mint marks were removed and standard proof sets were suspended, some 1967 Kennedy half dollars were struck with unusually sharp detail and smooth surfaces that resemble proofs, but they're not proofs. These special strikes are rare, and most were never recognized at the time. In extra fine to near new condition, these coins have sold for $250,000 to $600,000. Stunning even veteran collectors. So, how do you identify a potentially valuable 1967 Kennedy half dollar? Condition is key. Extra fine or better unlocks the real premiums. Check the coin's weight carefully. Silver errors often reveal themselves there. Use magnification to inspect the lettering for true doubling. Study the surfaces for an unusually sharp or satin-like finish. These small details are where fortunes hide. What makes some Kennedy half dollars valuable is history colliding with mistakes and survival. And the 1967 issue sits right at that crossroads. It's not just a coin, it's a snapshot of a nation under pressure, frozen in silver, and as unbelievable as this sounds, the next Kennedy half dollar takes us even higher, into territory where values don't just shock, they redefine what modern US coins are worth. Now, it's turned to a year almost no one expects this 1979 Kennedy half dollar in extra fine condition, because this is where quiet coins start making very loud headlines. At first glance, the 1979 Kennedy half dollar feels routine. It's not silver, it's not old by most standards, and many people remember seeing these in circulation. But extra fine condition changes everything. Kennedy's portrait still shows strong definition. The hair above the ear is clearly separated, the cheek hasn't flattened out, and Liberty remains bold and complete. This coin didn't just survive circulation, it escaped it early. On the reverse, the eagle still commands attention. Feather details remain visible across the wings, the shield lines are intact, and the stars are clean. This matters because the late 1970s were plagued by worn dies and rushed production. Sharp detail from this year is already a clue that something special may be hiding, and now comes the shock. The US Mint in 1979 was struggling with efficiency, not perfection. That opened the door to dramatic double die errors, and the 1979 double die obverse is one of the most powerful sleepers in the Kennedy series. Under magnification, doubling can appear on Liberty, the date, and In God We Trust. The letters look thick, almost shadowed, but the doubling is raised, not flat. In circulated condition, these coins already sell for $40,000 to $75,000. In extra fine condition like this, certified examples have reached $150,000 to $280,000, with exceptional eye appeal, pushing prices even higher. But collectors don't stop there. The 1979 No FG reverse is another variety that sends prices soaring. When the designer's initials beneath the eagle's tail feathers disappear due to heavy die polishing, rarity is born. Most people never flip the coin over to check, and that's why these still slip through collections unnoticed. In extra fine condition, verified No FG examples have sold for $220,000 to $420,000. And when bidding heats up, prices have crossed $600,000. And then there are the coins that break all expectations. A limited number of 1979 Kennedy half dollars were struck on wrong planchets, including foreign or experimental blanks. These coins often reveal themselves through subtle clues: unusual color, incorrect weight, or a strange sound when dropped. When authenticated by a major grading service, these pieces leap straight into elite territory. Top-tier examples have sold for $700,000 to over $1.3 million, becoming centerpieces in advanced collections. So, how do you identify a potentially valuable 1979 Kennedy half dollar? Condition comes first. Extra fine or better is essential. Inspect the reverse carefully for missing FG. Use magnification to study liberty and the date for true doubling. Weigh the coin and examine the edge. Anything that feels off could be the clue that separates an everyday $50 from a life-changing discovery. What makes some Kennedy $50 valuable isn't silver or age, it's rarity created by mistakes and protected by condition. And the 1979 issue proves that even overlooked modern coins can quietly rise into 6- and 7-figure territory and stay right here. Because the next and final Kennedy $50 takes us to the peak, the coin that closes this list with the most unbelievable value of all.